Do you want to start writing your first research paper, but not sure where or how to begin? Well, in 7 minutes or less, we will explain that in a step-by-step approach. First, let's start with the title. The title is very important as it's the first thing people will look at. To have a good title, you should try to describe the content of your research using only a few words. The tip here is to make it describe your study goal. Second comes the introduction part. The introduction is a critical part of your paper because it will provide a background information on your research topic. You must state the topic you want to study, your objectives, issues, and the questions you will address, and a review of literature on your topic. Also, be sure to include definitions of terms when necessary. When writing, start out generally with the background information to make the readers familiar with the topic and include references to earlier works to show what is already known in the current literature. In order to do that, you need to do a thorough literature review. The tip here is when doing the literature review, you will find multiple studies, but focus on the most important studies with valuable results and only include the ones that are related to your problem. Then you can go into the specifics and the unknown parts, or what is missing in the previous studies, like important arguments, the limitations of the previous studies, and the gap you want to fill with your research. This will establish the context for you to state the purpose of your study. Clearly state the research question. Why are you doing this? Now moving to the method section. Here you will describe how your research was conducted, providing details about the study design, sample size, sampling technique, characteristics of the participants, when and where the study was conducted, and how the data was gathered and analyzed. The tip here that you should also justify your experimental design and explain why you used these methods. All these details are necessary so that any researcher reading your article would be able to repeat your research work and reproduce results if they followed your instructions. Now we'll talk about the results. What are the findings of your works? This section will simply just contain the raw data to make the results accessible to the readers. So objectively present the results of your research in a clear and logical order and their statistical analysis, without interpreting the results or mentioning other research. So just summarize the data. You can use text and visuals like tables, figures, and diagrams to show your results. Include results that answers your research question and report the statistical significance of any differences. Now we'll talk about the discussion part. What do your results mean? The most important part of the discussion is interpreting and explaining your results to fill the gap that was identified in your introduction and provide an answer to your research question. So briefly restate your hypothesis and discuss whether it has been proven or rejected by your data. Show how the results agree or conflict with the previous literature, and acknowledge any limitation in your research, especially if they might affect your results, and do not introduce any new results or ideas. In the conclusion part, you can summarize your evidence, but do not repeat your discussion points. Only state the final conclusion. Discuss how your paper may contribute or advance your field, and provide recommendations for future researches. Now, after finishing your research paper, you will need to write an abstract. The abstract is a short summary of your paper. For some people, this will be the only part of your paper they will view, so your abstract should tell a complete story, meaning readers who take a quick look at your abstract should be able to see all the important elements in your study. So in the introduction, write a short background to explain the specific problem and your purpose for conducting the study. The main research question should be stated clearly and do not include the previous literature. In the materials and the method section, you will briefly describe your study design, procedures, sample size, randomization process, and the important instruments you used. And in the results section, you can summarize the main findings relating to your research question, but only include the essential points. Finally, in the discussion in the conclusion part, you should describe your key findings, the meaning of the results, and the answer to your question. And that's it for this video. I hope that this video helped to answer some of your questions about how to write a new research paper, and if it did, please share it with your friends and colleagues.